Dripping wet, I stood there. My heart was racing as my toes slowly curled over the edge. 3 feet of nothingness beneath me. And I was meant to jump into that? You see, I was a little girl of about 8 years old trying to convince myself to jump off the end of a diving board. Everything in my life had been a breeze till then. My food was made for me, my clothes washed and ironed for me. I slept in a lovely bed. In short, everything in my life was being taken care of, and I lived in a land where I did not have to worry about a thing. Okay, I did flip out about not getting the color gum I wanted out of the gumball machine every now and then, but I would usually forget all about it half an hour later. Back then, I didn't even have to think about studying or working or responsibilities or even trying to solve worldwide problems like global warming. Nah, I was 8, and life had been simple. Right up to that moment. But now what? My little 8-year-old mind was racing. What if I trip? What if I fall? What if I run, jump off, trip over my toe, fall head first, see a shark, scream, hit the water screaming? Become unconscious of all that screaming. What on earth was going to happen if I jumped? I had no idea, and no way to find out. This, ladies and gentlemen, had been the biggest challenge in my life so far. A tiny moment, an instant in time, and yet so vividly engraved into my memory. Did I decide to go for it? Or did I play it safe? And did I walk back down the diving board to slide into the swimming pool from the side? What was the right decision? Should you try to control your life and try to foresee all that is to happen to prevent horrible things from happening to you? Because the world isn't always filled with daisies and roses. Quite often, you can find yourself stumbling upon a thorn, or just falling flat on your face. Or should you just dive in head first, not listening to your doubts, nor being able to anticipate what's going to happen, but trusting it'll all be all right? It's a hard decision, don't you think? And yet, aren't those moments when your feet aren't on the ground the best moments you can remember? The times you embark on something new, do something you have never done before, when you feel that rush, blood pumping through your veins, all your senses on red alert, that incredible, exhilarating feeling mixed in with just a tiny hint of fear. See, I once had this joke. Where can you find a dog with no legs? Exactly where you left it. Yet if that dog had had legs, my God, it would run, skip, and jump so high it might even show Felix Baumgartner a thing or two. And yet here we all sit equipped with 2 fully functioning legs, ready to jump at any second and unsure as to whether we should. Sure, it could all blow up in your face, but people forget that the path you tread does not define you, nor forbid you from ever going back. And I don't think that anyone should let the world terrify them into submission. It can kick you in the gut and it can get you down, but you should never let it stop you from doing something that you love or taking a few risks every now and then. See, this had been the biggest challenge in my life when I was 8 years old. And I think the reason why I've been so caught up in this problem recently is because, in a sense, I feel like I'm standing on that diving board again today, only now on a much higher level. Today, I stand on the brink of adulthood. Secondary school is coming to a close, and many new challenges lie before me. And how on earth am I meant to do this? I don't know. All I do know is that back then, when I was 8 years old, I closed my eyes and I jumped. Thank you very much for listening.
Yes, Isa. Being on the brink of adulthood might not be a choice. You might even be pushed into the water. How does that make you feel?
So how does it make you feel to be pushed into adulthood?
Yeah.
Well, it's not that great because whenever you are forced to do something, I think it's quite a party out there actually. Whenever you are forced to do anything, you never really feel that great about it, and you do feel very uncertain about it, which is also why I have so much trouble with this challenge. But I'm looking forward to embracing it and looking forward to picking up that challenge and trying to make the best out of it.
At what level is a diving board now?
Right now, I would say that the diving board is a little bit higher than those 3 feet when I was 8 years old. It's quite high, yet I don't think that this diving board of becoming an adult and deciding who I want to be is going to be the greatest one that I'm going to face in my life. I definitely think that there are greater things to come.
Have you ever done something without thinking about it beforehand and then afterwards been proud of that?
Yes, I have. And I also think that the things that you do without really thinking about them, they can turn out great, but at the same time, they could also be the worst decisions that you make because you haven't thought of the consequences of what you have done. And I think that that is when you can definitely make mistakes.
Why aren't we all a four-legged dog?
Pardon?
Why aren't we all a four-legged dog?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Why aren't we all a dog with 4 legs?
So why don't we all just grab every chance that we get and run with it?
Yeah.
I think that is because it's lovely and it's nice to stay where you are and not to accept the challenge, because where you are right now is a good place to be. So I don't see why everyone should feel the need to suddenly run up and go and do lots of stuff, yet if you are brave enough and if you accept that challenge, I think that the rewards are far greater than just staying in the same place.
Is it better to think about all the consequences before you jump from the diving board, or should you just go for it and see what happens?
Well, that actually quite depends on the challenge, to be honest, because each challenge is different. So in most challenges, I would consider the moral consequences, because ultimately, by accepting that challenge, if it will turn out bad morally for you, then that will also sort of reflect, other people reflect that onto who you are and the morals that you have inside of you. So definitely don't forget your morals and remind yourself of them whenever you do take a challenge.
Would you ever like to go back to being that child without responsibilities?
Oh, I would love to. No responsibilities, that's the dream. Just being that little kid again and running about, running in the fields, running in the grass, not really having to care about the world, actually not being oblivious of the world around you is a better way to put it. Because as you grow up, you become so much more aware of all the problems that there are in the world. And it's quite sad in a way. But it's definitely something that you do have to go through.
Does it then mean that if you get older, it becomes harder for us to jump?
I definitely think so, because put some clay in front of a toddler, and the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to jump into it, they're going to mold it, they're going to love it, they're going to live it. Yet put the same lump of clay in front of an adult, and first they'll think, what is the point of this clay lying here? And then they'll think, what am I meant to do with this? And they'll question so much more without ever going for it. So being a child, you are definitely very much more up for taking a challenge, and I don't believe that we should lose that. Thank you very much.